Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the February 15th meeting of the Boston Art Commission. My name is Karen Goodfellow, and I'm the Director of Public Art in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. In that capacity, I'm also the Director of the Boston Art Commission. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting virtually. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the Boston Art Commission, the public can join this meeting through telephone and video conferencing. For those of you with us today, this meeting is being recorded and closed captioning is available. You can access it at the bottom of the screen. If you have trouble locating the button, please chat us for assistance. I also ask that everyone update your name and pronouns and to please keep yourself muted. Artworks proposed for City of Boston property are reviewed at public meetings of the Boston Art Commission. The BAC is the commissioning body for the City of Boston. Working together with the public art team in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, the Boston Art Commission is an independent board composed of 2 ex officio and 7 appointed volunteer art and design professionals that hold public meetings to review, discuss, and vote on matters concerning the city's art collection. The BAC has exclusive authority to approve and commission artworks intended to be added to the city's collection or to be placed on city property. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture and the Boston Art Commission believe that public art is any artwork installed in publicly accessible spaces where they can be experienced by everyone. We engage in discussion about public art in Boston in order to foster the creation and collection of artworks that reflect the people, ideas, histories, and futures of Boston, which is on the traditional homeland of the Massachusetts people. We acknowledge the continuing presence of the Massachusetts as well as the Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples. We also recognize the Indigenous peoples represented in the city's residents, in addition to those in the diaspora. Our meetings are generally held the second Tuesday of each month to review current public art projects cited on or proposed for City of Boston property. And we hope that you will continue to join us. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture has a dedicated public art team that manages all daily operations and duties related to public art projects cited on or proposed for City of Boston property. From time to time, it also includes other members of the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, as well as consultants. This team facilitates the Boston Art Commission's monthly public meetings and manages all phases of Boston's public art projects in collaboration with the Boston Art Commission, community members, and colleagues at the City of Boston. We have 6 team members with us here for tonight's meeting. We have Sharon Amaguni, who is the program manager for the Boston Artists in Residence program, Patricia Gilrain, art collections manager, myself, Karen Goodfellow, director of public art, Liza Quinones, mural consultant, Sarah Rodrigo, Senior Public Art Project Manager, and Lala Shanks, consultant for the mural to celebrate the life and legacy of Rita Hester. Trisha will add our contact information to the chat, and I'll now hand it over to Mark, Chair Mark Pasnick.
Thanks, Karen, and welcome everybody. I'm calling this public hearing to order at 4:37 p.m. Today, the Boston Art Commission will be holding its monthly public meeting. I will now take the roll call of commissioners to confirm a quorum. After I state your name, commissioners, please say here. I'll begin with Vice Chair Aqua Holmes.
Here, Mark.
Thank you, Aqua. Camilo Alvarez.
Here.
John Andres.
Here.
Michael Canizzo.
Here.
Cara Elliott Ortega.
Here.
Brian Hone.
Here.
And Kim Pinder. I don't think she's here.
Here.
Oh, you, okay, great. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
So a quorum is confirmed, and we will now review the meeting minutes from the previous December meetings of the Boston Art Commission. These minutes are from the December 7th subcommittee meeting of the BAC, as well as the monthly meeting of the full commission, one of which was a subcommittee meeting. So we will be reviewing 2 sets of meeting notes. Are there any comments or modifications any commissioner would like to make to either set of notes? And I will note that I actually made a correction of 1 word in a grammatical issue in the subcommittee meeting. No, hearing none. Then let's move on to a vote. Karen, should we I guess we could have both be voted on at the same time. I've never had 2 notes before, or meeting minutes before. Is it okay to vote on them at the same time?
I think we should probably do them separately.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to accept the minutes from the December 7th subcommittee meeting?
Make a motion to accept the December 7th subcommittee notes.
Great, thank you, Brian.
I second that.
Okay, thank you, John. So I'll do the roll call. Aqua?
Yes.
Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Kim?
Yes.
Great, and I'm a yes as well, so the motion passes. I'll look for a second motion then to accept the minutes from the last meeting of the Boston Art Commission in December.
I make a motion to accept the December 14th, 2021 minutes.
I'll second that.
Great, thank you. You guys are very proactive, thanks. I'll do the roll call now. Aqua?
Yes.
Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Kim?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. So both sets of meeting minutes have been approved. Thank you, everybody. Aqua, you'll take the next.
I'm sorry. On this slide, you'll see the agenda we're following today. The agendas for these meetings are always posted publicly on boston.gov. And we're going to begin with the director's report and then move on to
all of them, but just to share with
move on to presentations for review. At the time of presentations, we will provide you with information about how you can participate. Now we'll have Karen Goodfellow give her director's report. Karen?
Thank you, Aqua. We have 5 presentations for review today. Revisions to the City of Boston Public Art policies and processes, and the Boston Art Commission bylaws. Of Many Minds, final design review for an installation at the Navy Yard in Charlestown by artist Michael Alfano, which is proposed by the Navy Yard Garden Association. So that is community initiated. And ROXBURY, which is a new title that we've just learned. The final acceptance for the artwork by Joe Wardwell with Nakia Hill and 826 Boston YLAB writers at the Roxbury branch of the Boston Public Library. And this is proposed by the City of Boston. And 2 other projects that are part of the City of Boston's Transformative Public Art Program. First is artist selection for the mural celebrating the life and legacy of Rita Hester to be sited in Allston. And then the final design for the mural, Youth Lead the Change by artist Mandel for 158 Stratton Street in Dorchester, which is a Boston Housing Authority location. And we'll review long-term city-initiated public art projects. At this time, we don't have any dedications scheduled, and the next installation is taking place in March. 4 projects are in fabrication for the Boston Arts Academy. Both Memory Diffusion by Masari Studios and The Creative by Simon Donovan and Ben Olmsted are scheduled for installation in the spring of 2022. Unus Mundus by Monica Bravo for the East Boston Police Station is the project that will be installed in early March. You can see images of some of the glass mosaics on the right of your screen. Play 26 for the DeWitt Playground was approved by the commission in November, and the play team is finalizing their fabrication installation team. Projects in final design include a number of transformative mural projects, which we will present to you in coming months, including one that you'll be reviewing tonight. Also in final design is Jeremy Sobek Harrison's artwork for the Roxbury branch of the Boston Public Library, and Christina Perenio and Amontage's updated design for Hyde Square in Jamaica Plain. 3 projects are in preliminary design, both artworks for Vine Street BCYF and the Ruggles Corridor integrated artworks by Jeremy Seven, both in Roxbury. And 3 projects are in various points of negotiating in their contracts, including the 3rd project for the Roxbury branch of the Boston Public Library, commissioned for the Adams Street branch of the Boston Public Library in Dorchester, and the new unincorporated partnership between Lemerci Fraser and Ralph Helmick for Engine 42 that you approved last November. And tonight you'll review an artist selection for the mural for the life and legacy of Rita Hester. We are still in the artist selection process for, or the consultant selection process for Indigenous Public Art and Cultural Spaces consultant or team, as well as for the Engine 17 Public Art Project in Dorchester, for the murals for Malcolm X Park in Roxbury, which is also part of the Transformative Public Art Program. And we have 2 calls to artists open right now, one for a collection photographer and the other for 2 short-term projects for City Hall Plaza. And we'll review those calls in more detail now. The call to artists for City Hall Plaza includes 2 opportunities. So it's 1 document with two sites in it, 2 projects. You can see the first page of the call on the left and pages 8 and 10 in the center and on the right. It looks like 7 and 9 there. The first opportunity is for a short-term artwork sited near the north entrance, which will be reopened as part of the plaza renovation, which is very exciting for those of us who are in that building very often. The second opportunity is for graphics for the gallery wall on the west side of City Hall, facing out towards Cambridge Street. And we're hosting 2 virtual information sessions tomorrow, February 15th, one at noon, so folks may be able to join on their lunch break, and then one again at 6 p.m. For folks who have more availability in the evening. And we're really excited to walk people through these opportunities. And now we will review the collections projects. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture released a request for qualifications for a photographer to complete photo documentation of the existing collection in anticipation of ArtSite, the City of Boston's public art website. A 3D imaging request for qualifications will be released this month to further document the bronze figurative elements of the Emancipation Group. The John Boyle O'Reilly sculpture by Daniel Chester French is planned for conservation work during the summer of 2022. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture has identified funds from Adopt a Statue endowment funds through the Boston Foundation. We're waiting for City Council approval for the disbursement of these funds. Art Collections Manager Tricia Gilrain recently spoke on a panel with Peter Drummey, Chief Historian at the Massachusetts Historical Society, about the project for the FCA's annual meeting. Fenway Cultural Association, I think the FCA stands for. I apologize if I got that wrong. The FCA has also helped to raise funds for the work and has been helping to raise awareness of the artwork's condition, and they've been great advocates for artwork in the Fenway. Josh Crane of Daedalus will be completing the artwork. As Conservation House Doctor, Crane has also submitted his top candidates for conservation and maintenance, and these artworks will be finalized in March, and work will be planned for the spring and summer of 2022. And so that is the end of my report. We had talked about taking a break, so Ekwa, I'll hand to you. You're muted.
I was just chatting away there. We're going to take a 5-minute break before we start our presentation. So it's time to grab your water, do your stretching, and we'll be back at, what would it be, Mark? Because we're going by your time. 5 minutes. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay, everybody, let's start up again. That's a humane way of running a meeting. I like this idea.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, welcome back. We'll now move on to items on the agenda for review, public testimony, and commission vote. Here's how you can participate in this session during today's meeting. Please keep yourself muted. If you have technical difficulties during the meeting, you can ask questions in the chat and a member of staff will help you. After presentations and commissioners clarifying questions, myself or Aqua may invite public testimony as chair and vice chair. If you'd like to participate, you can press the raise your hand icon and staff will put you in a digital line for comment. You can also let staff know that you have a question in the chat. If you are calling in, press *9 to raise your hand. Please remember to keep your comments on topic and brief.
Right, so our goal is to make this meeting a good experience for all so that all community members feel comfortable sharing their feedback and their questions. Please be mindful and respectful of other people's time when speaking so that other participants feel comfortable adding their comments. You can submit longer written testimony to bac@boston.gov. While you may disagree with other attendees' testimony, please don't interrupt them during their allotted time, and please keep questions and comments project specific. If you're called upon, please state your name, title, if applicable, program, and organization. We also ask that you are kind in your comments and do not use any abusive language. Thank you. Our first presentation today will be revisions to the City of Boston public art policies and processes and the Boston Art Commission bylaws. I'd like to hand it over to Karen Goodfellow, who will give an overview of the process to date. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Aqua. On Tuesday, December 7th, the BAC subcommittee on this topic met to review and discuss the City of Boston public art and processes and the Boston Art Commission bylaws, policy and processes and the Boston Art Commission bylaws. The meeting was recorded and is posted to the city's website. We just reviewed and voted on those minutes. The policy document was first introduced in 2017 to create consistency and transparency in our daily operations and on policies and processes. Basically, we needed a way to be able to manage all these projects and processes in a way that felt fair and transparent. Knowing that it would be an iterative process, we've been revisiting them over time. This also creates clarity for artists, community members, and other city departments as we try to improve all of our processes and take feedback. The goals of the revisions are to make the document simpler and more accessible. We'll also be using it as a source document to create more information available on the website and other places. Revisions from the December 7th subcommittee meeting and feedback that we got from there that the public art team as staff continue to work on are being presented today for review. The more major revisions we made to the document are on this slide. These were presented at our October meeting of the BAC and reviewed by the subcommittee on December 7th. We created an introduction that more clearly defined the roles and relationships between the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, the Public Art Team, and the Boston Art Commission, as we found that people often weren't sure if and how we all work together, and we do very well and very often. We reorganized the layout of the document and organized into 4 primary sections: the policies and processes, and then the bylaws of the Boston Art Commission, a glossary of terms, and then finally some appendices. We also reordered some content to prioritize artists and community readers in order to make the document easier to navigate and more user-friendly. We worked to align steps and language in commissioning and collections processes. We also updated the curatorial vision with recommendations for review, and we clarified BAC review and vote processes to be better in compliance with ordinance and enabling legislation, which you will see in this document under bylaws. We also made changes to terminology. What we used to call permanent and temporary artworks are now short-term and long-term artworks. And what we called the permanent collection is now the existing collection. Third-party driven projects, we call community-initiated projects. And we also made the document more user-friendly since it's intended for many different users. For instance, we moved short-term artist and community-initiated commissioning projects to the top of the document since we thought it would be of interest to the most people who are looking for it. When the subcommittee met on December 7th, they suggested the following revisions. They suggested that we clarify that the public art team working within the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture was the one drafting the document. So we tried to clarify that. They recommended we provide links to relevant projects for those who are reading and potentially proposing projects, that we add separate sections that provide a review process for mural proposals, and a BAC review process for short-term commissions, and an updated curatorial vision, which is the curatorial vision for the City of Boston is to foster the creation and collection of artworks that reflect the people, ideas, histories, and futures of Boston, the traditional homeland of the Massachusetts people, and the home of the neighboring Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples. We aim to commission and approve artworks that engage communities and directly respond to, enrich, and enliven the urban environment. We seek public art that is driven by artistically strong vision, enhances the diversity and equity of the existing collection, and possess durability appropriate to the lifespan of the work. So you'll note that much of that language is the same. We broke it into sentences. Thank you, Kara, to make it a little bit more digestible, and adjusted some of the language in small ways. We also looked out for grammatical typos, and thank you, Brian, for taking a look at those. And we added a section for removal that includes a process for removal of an artwork and its relationship to deaccessioning, which can serve it as a more extreme case of removal. But as we know, removing something from view is not the same as removing it from the collection. The public art team has implemented these changes into the document and it's been put into your folder so that you can review it in advance of today's meeting. And again, I'll be clear that this is an iterative process. We expect to keep learning as we commission and care for more artworks over time.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Now we have a chance for commissioners to ask any questions or to review the content. I will make one note that I think the word possess should be changed to possesses to align grammatically with the other verbs. I would also like to thank the subcommittee members. I think it was Brian and John. Is that correct? Karen?
Yes.
Okay.
And John and Kara.
Oh, and Kara. Great. So thank the three of them for putting in work on maybe what is not always the most glamorous part, but perhaps one of the most important parts of the guiding of our commission. So thank you three for that work. So any comments or questions?
I was also just going to recognize Karen and Sarah and Patricia for all their work in getting this document to where it is. It's a ton of work, but important work that kind of professionalizes the work that the Art Commission does and makes the process more transparent for artists in Boston and easier for artists in Boston. So kind of recognizing that and thanking you all for your work.
Thank you, Brian.
Great. Hearing no comments, are there any members of the public who'd like to make a comment at this time? Hearing none. Oh, go ahead.
I have one question. I know this document will be available online. Are there any plans to have a printed document that might be available, say, in public libraries or someone who might not immediately have access could send away for it?
Yeah, we could certainly, if we got requests for it, send it to folks. I'm hoping that we can use it as a source document to create some sort of easier aids for folks, and maybe have those available in locations where people might be interested.
Thank you. Yeah, and I want to thank you all as well for your wonderful work to bring this document up to date and recognize the new technologies and issues that we're dealing with as a commission. It's commendable, and thank you.
I think I recall shortly after Aqua and I joined the commission doing the last round of this, and it was both fascinating and a lot of work. So it's nice to see it being refreshed. Seeing no comments from the public, do we need to make a vote here, Karen, to accept the?
Yes.
Okay, great. So do I have a motion from someone to accept the changes to the bylaws? Is that what we would call it?
No, it's a City of Boston public art policies and processes and Boston Art Commission bylaws.
Okay. So
I'll make a motion to vote on or okay the revisions, the updates to the City of Boston public art policies and processes and Art Commission bylaws.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Aqua. Thank you, Camilo. So I'll read off the roll call. All those in favor say yes. Aqua?
Yes.
Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Kim?
Yes.
And I will also say yes. So congratulations to the subcommittee. The motion passes. We, I guess, now are officially under new new guidelines and bylaws. So thank you for all your work on that.
All right. Our next presentation is for Of Many Minds by Michael Alfano and proposed by the Navy Yard Garden Association. Haley Pinta, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly, and the artist Michael Alfano are here to present, and Robin Marino and Haley Pinta are here as well from the Navy Yard Garden Association to answer questions. So thank you for being here, and I will hand it off to you now. Welcome to this meeting of the Boston Art Commission.
Hello, can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Thank you for considering our proposal. I'm Michael Alfano, the artist, and we are joined by Haley and Robin. It's an honor to speak to you today, and we appreciate all you do to support the Boston cultural scene. The proposed exhibit Of Many Minds features 20 sculptures along the Boston Harbor Walk in the Charlestown Navy Yard for 18 months starting this summer. It's a free public art exhibit accessible to people of all ages and abilities. Of Many Minds is intended to celebrate our differences and our commonalities. It includes thought-provoking figurative sculptures paired with philosophical quotes that will be displayed on plaques on the sculpture bases along with the titles and QR codes. I'm grateful to the Navy Yard Garden and Art 501c3 nonprofit who is raising the funds to cover costs for the exhibit as well as signage, marketing, and behind-the-scenes assistance. There's strong community support for the exhibit, including the Boston Harbor Art Now, Friends of the Boston Harbor Walk, Friends of the Charlestown Navy Yard, and also as shown by the 15 letters of support we've received. We work closely with Dick Mulligan of the BPDA to select the sites with respect for visibility, safety, and snow removal. All the sites were reviewed and approved by Dick, including the fewer locations on grass, which make good sense because they don't interfere with sprinklers or other infrastructure. As with the prior two exhibits, the BPDA will reseed those areas after the exhibit so the lawns look the same as they did before. He reassured us that these particular sites make it easier for snow removal and maintenance. We toured the route with Tricia Gilrain of the BAC and Sarah Leung of the Disabilities Commission and made some adjustments to the sites to improve accessibility, of which Dick approved those changes. The installation will take place over 3 days with 7 sculptures being completely installed each day. The sculptures will be on a cement pad whose dimensions extend beyond the maximum dimensions of the corresponding sculpture, and there will be no overhang. For installation, we'll be using a small truck to deliver the sculpture pads and pieces to each location. With the battery-powered hammer drill, each sculpture will be bolted into the pad with at least 4 half-inch stainless steel expansion bolts. For deinstallation, the process will happen in reverse, with each site being left in the same condition as it was found. The installation date is set for June 13, 2022, and a removal date of December 18th, 2023. The sculptures will be in 3 groupings along a 1-mile section of the Harbor Walk, stretching from the USS Constitution to Menino Park at Spalding Rehab. The proposal lays out the specific quotes for each sculpture, the materials, dimensions, locations, and installation details. The site plan shows the location and site layout for each sculpture relating to accessibility, placement, and the surrounding physical features. The installation groupings are, if we can move ahead on the slides there to the groupings. So group 1 includes 2 sculptures at the USS Constitution National Park and the museum. So this slide and the next slide. Group 2, moving on to the next slide, Group 2 includes the Dry Dock 2 Plaza, which includes 4 sculptures at the end of the Dry Dock Plaza and 1 just further down on the Harbor Walk. These are sculptures 3, 4, 5, and 6. Moving on to the next grouping. 3 sculptures at the Harbor Walk at Piers 6 and 7. So moving on to the next slide, which shows the remaining 2 sculptures. I'm sorry, I skipped there somehow. So actually, group 3 includes the Shipyard Park with 6 sculptures on either side of the Harbor Walk, which includes this one, Gates of Transcendence, and then the next slide, which this one includes the 5 in this area called Shipyard Park. The next grouping is right on the Harbor Walk, which includes Piers 6 and 7 and includes 3 sculptures, Peace Offering, and 2 more inspired by the Boston Marathon. So if you can scroll down to the next slide. Moving to group 5, which is the Harbor View area, includes 3 sculptures on tall bases. And you can see the 3 sculptures here with the marina in the background. And group 6 at Menino Park at the Spalding Rehab, which includes 2 brightly colored sculptures. Regarding maintenance, the sculptures are made of durable materials, bronze, aluminum, stainless steel, and fiberglass resin, all suitable for harsh Boston winters. Because they are securely bolted and the materials are sturdy, we don't anticipate any planned maintenance during the 18-month exhibition. With the members of the Navy Yard Garden and Art Association living in the community and me being local, the sculptures will be closely monitored throughout the exhibit. We are very excited to bring this ambitious public art exhibit to life in a historic and very accessible location in Boston, where, including the National Park, more than 1 million people per year will be able to access art and culture free of charge. Thank you for your consideration. I'm open to any questions at this point.
Yes, I was just about to say that. So are there any questions or comments from commissioners?
Well, I would just say a really ambitious project. I love the idea of someone being able to see so much artwork along a particular part of the city, different ideas from one artist presented together like that. I think that's a wonderful idea. And also that you have so much community support is a wonderful thing. The only question that I have is about the how these are bolted to the ground, because I'm not an engineering type. You mentioned 4 bolts, 4 1/2-inch bolts, which doesn't seem like a lot. Can you explain how these things will really be anchored so that if we do have, say, hurricane winds and those kinds of things in the wintertime, they will be secure?
Sure. So the 1/2-inch refers to the diameter of the bolts. They're similar to other bolts that are used for public structures. So the length of the bolts will be between 4 to 6 inches in length, depending on the exact sculpture and the exact requirements in that particular area. All these sculptures will be on at least 36 by 36 by 2-inch thick cement sculpture pads, of which are over 225 pounds each. Those stainless steel bolts will be bolted into those pads. So it will be very strong and durable, very heavy. And again, we don't anticipate any problems.
Okay. Thank you.
So just to clarify, there will be each of the 19 sculptures will have a uniform concrete base from which its pedestal will then be bolted to. Are all the pedestals made of metal as well?
There's, again, different materials for the bases and pedestals. So some of these sculptures have a granite base. Again, the very tall ones are on shorter bases, and the smaller sculptures are on a taller base. This is all laid out in the proposal with the exact pedestal base size, as well as the cement sculpture pad size. And for the most part, the sculpture pads are 36 by 36 by 2, and then the bases are sized in relationship to the sculpture, and in order to be, appropriately sized for the particular sculpture to look classy, clean, and not compete with the sculpture.
Okay, so there's different materials adhering to different materials. And then you said some of the, so that's why I'm asking, because I think maybe moving forward for such an ambitious project, probably an individual image per sculpture would probably be that much more helpful for us to actually determine what exactly is material per sculpture. So you said that some of the sculptures are fiberglass. So the interface, it goes from fiberglass to rock, or fiberglass to metal, to then to the concrete, right? In some of the sculptures?
So all of those details are laid out in the proposal, which has all the material sizes and base materials, the base materials. So if you have a question on a specific sculpture, I can answer that specific question. Again, the bases are made appropriate for each of the sculptures. And again, without having the specific sculpture, I can answer for a specific sculpture. I'm not sure, does that answer your question?
I mean, I took a look at the materials, and I can't really determine which one is fiberglass sometimes and which one is metal. And then the pedestals are, sometimes they just look like a black surface. I mean, I think I didn't really see what exactly was each sculpture was made of. I'm looking at the materials right now that you provided for us, and I can't determine which sculptures are made of what.
Those materials are in the proposal. Those materials are in the proposal, and below each piece has the materials and base material. If we scroll through the images that we scrolled through previously, I can tell you very quickly the materials and base material. So starting at the first one, this is called Breakthrough. It is a bronze sculpture, which will be bolted to the cement sculpture pad. And feel free to stop me if you have questions. This one is called Liquid Sunshine, and it is an aluminum sculpture, which is painted and will be bolted to a wood base, which will be bolted to the cement pad. The four sculptures in this area, the one in the center, which looks like a question mark called Questioning Mind, is a bronze sculpture bolted to a stainless steel base. Again, all of the sculptures are on the cement pad, so I'm actually not going to reiterate that for every piece. The one to the right of it, which is the multicolored one called Turning Heads, that is a fiberglass resin sculpture on a wood base. The one to the left of that, called Blown, the sculpture is in bronze on a wood base. If we can scroll, then the one below, the green one, is called Stroke of Genius. It is a painted aluminum sculpture on a wood base. Scrolling down to the next slide. And just to, when I say the wood base, so the wood bases are made out of 1/2-inch thick MDO plywood, which is an exterior grade plywood, which sign makers use very often. It provides a very clean, smooth finish and is geared for outdoors. And the MDO plywood is over a 2x4 framework of pressure treated lumber. The wood frames have a steel anchor, which is then bolted into the cement bases. And on those steel anchors, I believe for each of the bases, there's actually 8 stainless steel bolts, which will be going into the 225-pound cement base. This particular one, called on the screen now, called Gates of Transcendence, actually has 2 parts to it. It has 2 sets of bases. Both of the bases are wood. The sculpture is a steel welded structure on the inside of the sculpture with fiberglass resin. Those are attached to the wood bases with 3 1/2-inch stainless steel bolts for each sculpture, and then of course attached to the cement base. Scrolling down to the next image. The shipyard area includes 5 sculptures. Moving on the images from left to right and from top to bottom. I'm not sure if you're able to zoom in at all so you can see a better image of these pieces. So the one with the greenery on it is a bronze sculpture. The head and the feet are cast in bronze with a stainless steel sort of armature, almost creating a trellis that's created with 6 stainless steel rods, creating a trellis for living plants to grow up and kind of talk about our relationship with nature. The one to the left of it is called Evolution, which consists of stainless steel rods welded together and is set directly into a granite base, which is on the cement pads. Moving to the right, Beacon, which is an 8-foot bronze sculpture set in directly into the cement pad. And the 2 below is called Fused and Unraveling, both of which are bronze sculptures, which are be bolted into wood bases. Scrolling down to the next image. This one is called Peace Offering, and it is bolted with 4 1/2-inch stainless steel bolts to a granite base, which is will then be bolted to the sculpture pad. It is a resin fiberglass sculpture with a steel welded armature inside with over 60 feet of 1/2-inch steel rebar supporting the sculpture. Moving to next slide. Again, moving from left to right, the first one that kind of looks like a circle is called Running Wheel. And it is a fiberglass resin sculpture with steel support. The silver base below it is a 1/2-inch aluminum, which is then bolted to the sculpture pad. The one to the right is called Winged Foot, which is again a fiberglass resin piece, which will be bolted to the cement pad. And again, it's a fairly thick fiberglass resin with steel welded reinforcing structure. This particular piece, I can actually do pull-ups on the tip of the wing in testing it and making sure that everything is strong and durable. Moving on to the next slide. Each of these 3 sculptures in this image are bronze cast sculptures, which will be bolted to the bases, again, using several half-inch stainless steel bolts for each piece. Moving on to the last two at Menino Park. The top one in blue is a stainless steel sculpture, powder coated in blue. That is welded together, and it is bolted to a granite base, which is then bolted to the sculpture pad. The one right below it is called Self-Reflection. It is a painted aluminum sculpture, at least 3/4 of an inch in all areas, in some places thicker, which will then be bolted to the a intermediary base, which is the black part on the bottom, which will also be 2-inch thick cast aluminum, and then bolted to the sculpture pad.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, I did see the mediums for the sculptures. It was mostly the pedestals for the higher sculptures that I was curious about, because as we know, wood in the elements can really deteriorate, especially 18 months. You know, I think that's going to have constant supervision to see that it maintains itself. And so, have you thought also about the signage? You know, people will want to get close and where the signage for these works will be. And then another concern is also, I'm wondering if lighting nearby, if they will be, you know, I mean, especially the one that actually seems to be on a boardwalk, and it was kind of, you know, right on the wood. I'm wondering what the situation for that one is as well.
So I'm sorry, so just trying to get through, there's a number of questions there.
Yeah.
So right now we are proposing the signage to be on the base in a way that will be easy to read, and accessing the technology of QR codes, so viewers can access, perhaps in multiple languages, the information about the sculpture. And there is the walkway and harbor walk is fairly well lit as a pedestrian area for people to use, again, day and night. So at this point, there is not proposed additional lighting on the sculpture aside from the ambient street light, which is there already. And that is partially because there's not the infrastructure for electrical, you know, ways to place lighting. We could certainly look into the possibility of solar lighting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those questions, Camilo. Are there other questions or comments?
I was going to ask about the QR codes. What site will they be? Will they take people to, and who will maintain that?
So
I will let Haley answer that.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much. I'll be as quick as I can. So this is our third large public art exhibit of approximately the same size. We are working really hard to get people to walk the Harbor Walk, and it's really been incredible. And the signage is the most important feature of what we're doing. So we work on a campaign with Sign Art Boston, who's the sign company that manufactures them. They're just starting the design for this public art exhibit. So the QR codes came up in our meeting recently with the BPDA and the Boston Parks Department. They asked us to make this even more accessible to people of different languages. Mm-hmm. So the artist has a wonderful website if you haven't seen it, and this will become a component of his website, which will describe, you know, his quotes and thoughts that inspired him for each piece of art. Is our thought. We don't have the capacity within our own website to do that. We're just trying to uplift the artist and public art in general. So that's our contribution to this, is adding the signage. And the signs that were created for the last exhibit are reusable. They're going to be rewrapped. There were these 3-sided signs on posts that are already in the ground, buried for the winter, and it'll get revived. One side will have a map of the whole Navy Yard, encouraging people not only to see this exhibit, but also the other wonderful pieces of public art that we have in our neighborhood. And we'll have another side that honors our sponsors who make this exhibit possible, usually Spalding Rehab and Mass General Institute and all the other local businesses that wrote letters into you. And then there'll be another side that talks about the artist and his philosophy and why the name Of Many Minds and celebrating diversity and inclusivity, which is the main theme of this exhibit.
Thank you, Hallie. I'm going to have to step out of the meeting. So I thank you all for your presentations and for your attendance. And Mark, you got this. I will see you next month.
Great. Haley, I wanted to, could you remind us who the other artists have been in the past exhibits?
Sure. Yes, we had Dale Rogers did the Big Dog Show, which was 20, I think 8 foot high, 200, or I forget how heavy they were, dogs throughout from the Constitution down to Spalding. And that was up for 3 months. And I think it was 2018. And then right when the pandemic started, we installed Wind on Water, which was 32 wind sculptures from 5 feet tall to 16 feet tall that were fabulous. And if you didn't get a chance to see them, if you look at our Instagram account, you'll see that there was just an amazing way to get people outside safely during the exhibit. And you all extended the exhibit a couple of times so that we had it in place for, it was almost 18 months. And was just a wonderful thing. People were angry with us when they went away. So we're working really hard to get this next exhibit in as quickly as possible.
Great. Thank you. And so do you see this as a continuing process?
Absolutely, yes. We have another exhibit, which we're just working on now, which is kind of a remnant of the wind sculpture exhibit. It will be called The Wind Garden on the Harbor Walk, where 5 of the wind sculptures will be in place permanently. And then we have Navy Yard Night Skies, a new media art exhibit over in the Brick Amphitheater, which is also fantastic. And the demand for art, the interest level is incredible. The amount of excitement around it. We're seeing micro weddings around the artwork, picnics, birthday parties. People are just really enjoying what we've been adding to the neighborhood. We're sprinkling our fairy dust and we want to keep doing it.
Great. Well, thank you for all that effort in it. I think we'd love to be partners in the process too of conceiving future shows and are supporting you in some way. I think, one of the things that we might encourage is some non-solo shows too, to start to bring in, younger artists who may not have a collection this large to be able to put on display, so there can be a broad diversity of artists in some of the shows. I think that would be an interesting contrast to the solo shows, which are also bring a certain kind of voice to the large scape too, and a thematic. There might be some way to sort of think about future shows highlighting artists who don't have much of a platform yet, and give them a kind of platform as well. So, but thank you to both of you for the presentation and for the ambition behind this show. It's great to see. Are there any comments from members of the public? Richard Mulligan.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dick Mulligan with the Boston Planning and Development Agency Real Estate Operations Department. I oversee all the care and custody of our waterfront properties. I want to really thank you for the opportunity to review this project. It's really fantastic. I understand the concerns by the commissioner on the base and how these things are fixed into the ground. With the Big Dog Show, we had numerous galvanized steel sculptures that were inherently taking a lot of wind load just because of the way that they were built and situated. And with the wind on water, we had obviously top-heavy sculptures that were very impacted by the winds, particularly out at Menino Park. And all of them came through any of the weather without any problems at all. I think we had one wind sculpture that, because it was off kilter a little bit, stuck, and the artist came out and replaced it. I found that the artists are very concerned with their artwork and make sure that everything is secure. And certainly with our concerns regarding liability, that's a major factor for us. But I really want to, thank you guys for considering this. I want to thank the Navy Yard Garden and Art Association. They've now changed their name because they've gone more from planting flowers and trees to really helping bring art to the public. If there's any kind of silver lining from this COVID, we found that, with museums closed, that people really yearn for getting out and seeing these wonderful creations. And I really consider Shipyard Park and the Navy Yard as a whole as a blank canvas for public art. And I really hope we can work together in the future to bring more artists out here. I think it's just wonderful for waterfront activation. The harbor is one of the greatest resources that the city of Boston has to bring more people from all walks of life to the waterfront. I think is very important. And certainly the theme of this artwork, this exhibit, couldn't be more timely. And I think it's much needed. And I really, I support it. I've been here through the creation of the Garden and Art Association, and the work, the heavy lifting that they've done to bring these artists in has been phenomenal. My only concern is with this current exhibit, I don't know how we top it. It really is some fantastic sculptures with a timely message. And, I look forward to working with them. I look forward to having the public come out here and see more than just the Constitution, but be able to walk along the entire Harbor Walk and, really see some of these thought-provoking sculptures. I think it's great for the city, and I really appreciate all the work that the commission has done, and look forward to your support in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from community members? All right, seeing none, I think we could make a motion. Does a member of the commission like to make a motion?
Mark, I'll make a motion that we approve the installation that was shown to us. I don't remember the name, but that's my motion to approve the 20 art pieces in the Navy Yard. Of many minds. Right.
Of many minds, yes. Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Kim. So I'll read down the list and say yes if you approve. Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. So the motion passes. Congratulations, Michael, and all of you who are putting in a lot of effort into this project. Thanks so much for doing that.
Thank you.
Okay, our next presentation is for the artist selection for the mural to celebrate the life and legacy of Rita Hester. Sharon will be presenting from AIR. The program manager will present to us now.
Thank you, Mark. Next slide, please. This mural project originated as a proposal by former Boston artist in residence, Golden. In 2020, Golden proposed a mural to honor the life and legacy of Rita Hester, a Black trans woman and beloved Allston community member who lost her life as a result of transphobia and anti-trans violence. Rita Hester was known for her congeniality, boldness, and love of entertainment. Her passing was felt by countless individuals and sparked a movement in Boston and beyond. The Transgender Day of Remembrance was started by trans activist Gwendolyn Ann Smith as a vigil dedicated to Rita Hester and other trans individuals who died from anti-trans violence. It is observed annually across the world on November 20th. Despite her influential legacy in the LGBTQ community, Rita Hester has not been commemorated by the city as a whole. Nonetheless, community members have celebrated and honored her through vigils, events, and other efforts to make her story be told. Next slide, please. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture opened a call to artists for a mural to celebrate the life and legacy of Rita Hester as a part of the Transformative Public Art Program. This will be the first public artwork in the city of Boston honoring Rita Hester and will be part of a greater memorial effort. We acknowledge that a mural alone does not meet all of the immediate needs of Boston's trans and non-binary residents. There is more to be done within our work and programs to better serve trans and non-binary residents. Through this mural process, we worked with consultant Lala Shanks, who provided expertise and insight around community engagement for the mural. We've also worked with wonderful members as community members as a part of the Artist and Site Recommendation Working Group and the Community Engagement Working Group, a few of who might be here today. We're thankful for each individual's time and effort during this process. In addition to these working groups, we've been communicating with members of Rita Hester's family during this mural process. We're also currently exploring a location in Allston, which was Rita Hester's neighborhood and home. If you have any questions about the mural process or the community engagement effort, please reach out to bac@boston.gov. And Lala is also available here today to answer any questions during this meeting. Next slide, please. From working group recommendations, we reached out to 3 applicants and were able to interview 2 of them. The first artist is Sharina Travioso. Sharina's work reflects on the connection humans have with one another and the relationship we share with nature. Her recent artworks include the Diversity in STEM mural at Worcester Polytechnic Institute. She's also worked with many restaurants and shops creating murals and menu boards around the city of Worcester. She has been working with Math Talk, installing interactive sidewalk art in Worcester and Boston to promote learning and math skills for communities and youth. This past year, she's been producing a series of children's reading and coloring books, which include a When I Grew Up coloring book made for multicultural kids with textured hair. She believes it is important for her to show solidarity between all women and to showcase the sisterhood we all share. Next slide, please. The second artist interviewed was Rixy Fernandez. Rixy, she, her, is an interdisciplinary visual arts explorer and public storyteller, imagining an island that homes complex sexualities of feminine figures similar to the experiences within her own jungles. By reinterpreting narratives of the womanly forms of beauty, health, and power in fluorescent layers, we can empower ourselves and ultimately be deadly against the toxicity of machismentos. Rixy is from Roxbury, Massachusetts, a first-generation Latinx woman with blood roots in Honduran Garifuna and Dominican Caribbean lands. Primarily community and self-taught, she has received her BA at UMass Boston with a sculpture concentration for focus in material, sensual, and spatial awareness. We are recommending Rixy Fernandez as the artist for this mural project. While both artists were strong choices, Rixy seemed like the best artist to take on a potentially large-scale mural and showed eagerness to engage the community in the process. We'd like to recommend Rixy for this mural project.
Okay, thank you very much, Sharon. This is exciting to see 2 great artists present, and I hope the other artists might be somebody we continue to encourage to apply for projects with us. Let's open it up to any comments or questions from commissioners. And it does seem like the artist is on the call as well, so welcome to Rixy.
I just want to say that I'm really in support of this, and I think that it's a great thing to have, especially right now, especially with like just seeing how Black trans women, how they are just attacked, and like just seeing the rates of how they're killed and everything, and having a message like this and the encouragement, I think that's amazing, and I'm in full support. So yeah.
Could you just say your name?
Oh, sorry, my name's Deborah.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. Comments from commissioners? Other comments then from the public? Hearing none, I think there's a lot of trust in our process. And Sharon, thank you for guiding the process of selection. And I think you've come to a great conclusion. So I would see if there is a motion on the floor to accept the selection of the artist.
I can make a motion to accept the recommendation of Rixy Fernandez for the mural to celebrate the life and legacy of Rita Hester.
Great. That was a very perfect motion, Brian. Thank you for a very clear one. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Cara. So I will read down the list and please say yes if you're in agreement. Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Kim?
Yes.
Great. And I am a yes as well. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Sharon, for putting this together, and congratulations to the artist Rixy. We're glad to have you producing something for the city, and we look forward to seeing it. Well, I think we'll see you present your proposal at some point later, but we're really looking forward to that and to this, I think really important project that's so timely and important for the city to bring in diverse themes as well as diverse artists. So I'm glad to see that happening.
Thank you, Mark. Just want to reiterate, thank you again to all the folks for the working groups and to Lala, who's been a consultant on this project as well, and to Liza as well. Thank you. Great.
Okay, thank you very much. So our next presentation for final acceptance of ROXBURY at the Roxbury branch of the Boston Public Library. Sarah will be presenting.
Thank you, Chair. I'm driving two screens, so everyone be patient. On the upper left of this screen, you can see an image provided to us, courtesy of UTL and the Facilities Department. It's a rendering from several years ago, showing the project site on the interior as a yellow square. I think anyone who's visited the branch since it reopened will agree that in this case, even though this rendering shows a beautiful building, the rendering still falls short of the renovation itself. We worked with many partners on this project, and I particularly want to thank David Leonard, Allison Ford, and our other colleagues at the BPL who supported us, Alan Knight and the dedicated staff at the branch for their accommodations and patience, our colleagues in the Facilities Department, Brett Benson and the team at UTL, and all of the community members who gave their time to attend virtual events as the design progressed over the past 2 years. This artwork was commissioned in 2019 as the first of 3 projects for the newly renovated Roxbury branch of the Boston Public Library. You last saw this project in December 2020 when the final design was approved. There are 2 images from that presentation in the bottom center and right, along with a photograph of the artist, Joe Wardwell, bottom left, his collaborator, Nakia Hill, the poet, who is center top, and a group photo of the 826 Boston YLAB writers who worked on this project in the upper right. We're joined by Joe today. I'm not sure if Nakia is able to make it or any of the YLAB writers, but if they are, I hope they'll speak up. The artist provided a written statement that the commission can find in the folder, along with images of the artwork. And I'm going to read that statement as I scroll through the images. ROXBURY is a 3-panel mural cycle installed in the clerestory alcoves of the Roxbury branch of the Boston Public Library. The project is a collaboration between the Boston Arts Commission, Percent for the Art awarded artist Joe Wardwell, poet and educator Nakia Hill, and members of the 826 Boston Youth Literary Advisory Board, Asia Herrera, Keilani Vicente, Helen Adiyamo, J.B. Hunter, Marangela James, and Rashonda Williams. And I apologize if I pronounced any of those wrong. The colorful and complicated piece is painted in several layers, and each layer relates to the site of the library or the neighborhood of Roxbury. The base landscape layer moves from left to right, starting with the left panel, closest to the children's sections. A view from Roxbury Community College, looking east and including the mosque and Reggie Lewis Center. The central panel shows a vantage from Roxbury Heritage State Park, looking north to the center of the city. The final panel depicts the heart of Nubian Square with the library on the right. Moving left to right, the three panels move the viewer essentially down along Malcolm X Boulevard from Roxbury Community College to Nubian Square. The second layer, referred to as the abstract layer, utilizes crisscrossing diagonal and vertical lines, creating a design that responds to the architecture of the library. Strong segmented verticals mimic the concrete columns from the original brutalist modern structure that still spread out and populate the central stacks area. Diagonals in the design pick up on the wood baffle accents that twist and turn across the ceiling, as well as the light-filled architectural triangular shaft above the central clerestory wall. The third layer, the prominent large text that runs through and connects all three panels, is taken from the first lines of the poem Nubian Notion, written by Roxbury native poet Nakia Hill. The poem was specifically commissioned for ROXBURY and the Roxbury Library Clear Story Project and developed alongside the visual design. The first lines read, "Pride wrapped around us like an emerald necklace, high upon a mission hill projecting a bright beam of light, clinging to the essence of our communities." The fourth layer consists of individual poems written by members of the 826 Boston Youth Literary Advisory Board. Contributing members include again Asia Herrera, Kehlani Vincent, Helen Adeyemo, J.B. Hunter, Marangela James, and Rashonda Williams. Like Nubian Notion, all poems were written specifically for the ROXBURY project and were developed concurrently with the visual design of the mural. 7 poems were included in the mural overall, including a full version of Nubian Notion by Nakia Hill. All poems were written in English. However, depending on the wishes of the writer, poems were translated into additional languages as well. Besides English, poems appear in Spanish, Cape Verdean Creole, Yoruba, and Japanese. In conjunction with the mural, the artist produced a portfolio of prints reproducing the included poetry coupled with additional vantage points of the Roxbury neighborhood. The addition of 40 silkscreen prints printed by K-Rock Editions in Brooklyn, New York. Copies of the portfolio will reside at the Roxbury and Central branches of the Boston Public Library, 826 Boston, individual contributing members of the 826 Boston YLAB, Nakia Hill, and the artist. Additional information about the installation, recommended maintenance, and de-installation methods can be found in the project narrative in your folders. Text is not that exciting to share. I'd like to invite Joe if he's here, or I think Nakia may have joined us if they wanted to say anything, but they're also here to answer questions.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Joe.
Just say a word, or you or any of the partners.
I mean, I'd just like to say thank you to my partners. First off, I mean, it was a very, it was an incredible project to work on with them, and I'm so grateful for their participation. And you know, throughout the last couple of years, it's really the project that's helped inspire me and get me through so much. And they were always grateful to be included in mine, but I was to be included in the mural. But I was so grateful for them to lend me their words and their ideas and give advice along the way. And then I'd also like just to thank the commissioners. I really found that the feedback provided at both initial and final design really helped shape the project as well in ways that challenged me as an artist. I don't know if Nakia wants to say anything. She's here as well.
Yes, thank you, Joe. I would also like to thank the committee for their feedback. They really, really helped take this project to the next level. 826 Boston's Youth Literary Advisory Board, and a specific Thanks and shout out to Equa Homes and Karen Goodfellow and Sharon and Kara Ortega, who just all have been so supportive, and also Sarah as well along the process. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure collaborating with Joe.
Great. Well, I think this idea of collaboration and the sort of celebration of an established artist working with new voices and creating something that's maybe better than either could have dreamed of is very inspiring to me. So I'm really excited to see this. And I was in the space, I guess, before you installed, and it felt like it was still hungering for something. And I'm very glad to see the images of that present. So I'll open it up to public comments in a few minutes, but just wanted to see if commissioners had any questions first. Okay, seeing no questions or comments from commissioners, are there any comments from the public? Min Mai?
Hi, thanks, Mark. Hi, my name is Min. I am from Dorchester, and I just had a curiosity question in regards to one of the murals be like translated into Japanese. I just, out of curiosity, why was that language chosen, where the demographic of the city isn't predominantly Japanese?
Great question, Men. So the languages that the pieces were translated into were languages that represent the poet's culture. So Asia Herrera, who's one of the poets, she is Afro Latinx and also has Japanese heritage, and she really wanted to highlight that language.
Awesome, thank you.
Great, thanks, Min, for that question too. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, I think we can have an enthusiastic motion on the floor, I hope. This has been a fairly long process, but a productive process, I would say. We've seen this develop over time. And so I'm curious if somebody wants to take the lead on a motion here.
I would like to make a motion to finally accept the Roxbury branch of the BPL's presentation mural by Joe Wardwell in partnership with Nakia Hill and the 826 Boston YLAB Riders.
Great. Do I hear a second to that motion?
I second that.
Okay, thank you, John. And I'll read down the list. Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes, and congratulations to all.
Michael?
Yes, the installation looks fantastic.
Kara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Kim?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I am a yes as well. So the motion passes unanimously and with a lot of enthusiasm for the hard work of so many and the production of something very beautiful for the public. So thank you all who have participated in this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the commissioners.
Okay, our next presentation for the final design of the Youth Lead the Change mural, Karen Goodfellow and Lisa Quinones will be presenting. The artist Mel Mandel is here also to answer questions. Karen or Lisa?
I think we'll pass over to Liza if you want to lead us through here. Liza's our mural consultant and has been an incredible partner for us throughout the Transformative program, and we're so happy to be working with her this year as a consultant.
Will do. Thanks, Karen. So we can go on to the next slide. Thank you so much. Good evening, commissioners. We are excited to continue the second half of the Transformative Public Art Program with the final design presentation and art commission review of Mel Mandel's mural concept for Youth Lead the Change, one of several murals that are slated for installation this fall. The site is located in Franklin Field at 158 Stratton Street in Dorchester, and was identified and chosen in partnership with the Boston Housing Authority, the Department of Youth Engagement and Employment, and Youth Lead the Change, Boston teenagers from across the city who engage in the process and decision-making around the city's capital budget, and whose voices you've already heard in our meeting today, of which some of them are here. Next slide, thank you. So over the course of the fall and winter seasons, Mel and our community partners from the Department of Youth Engagement and Employment conducted engagement opportunities through concept development and feedback surveys and a Zoom session with Youth Lead the Change youth leaders and community stakeholders to inform Mel's mural design. The process was entirely youth-centered and community-driven, and included fruitful discussions around what community means to them and what they would like to see and feel when experiencing a site-specific mural at this location. The images here are 2 activities captured from the engagement session. And I will now introduce you to Mel Mandel, who will talk through her overall mural artwork concept and the different components of her design. Next slide, please.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Melissa Mandel, and I'm the muralist selected for the Youth Lead the Change mural. Just a little bit about me real quick. I started my mural career in Philadelphia, and then during the pandemic, I moved to the Boston area, and I'm now starting my art career here, which I'm very excited about. All right, so now I will walk you through the mural design. The Franklin Field community and Youth Lead the Change members wanted a positive, inspiring, and colorful mural that celebrates the community's diverse culture and origins. The design features a baobab tree, which is an African native tree, also known as the tree of life. The baobab plays a major role in helping their surrounding environment, providing food, shelter, fiber for cloth and rope, and helps keep the soil conditions humid and safe from erosion. Through their roots, they connect to nearby trees, forming an intricate mesh, helping to support each other structurally and sharing nutrients. The community of trees in the mural and large buttress roots symbolize family and community, and how they can rely on, connect with, and help each other. Altogether, they beautifully illustrate how a community can function at its greatest when functioning as a whole unit. In addition to the tree and root symbolism, I wanted to build off of the ideas of social and cultural fabric. Social fabric being the relationships and connections we make with one another, making us all a part of the common thread of society as a whole. And cultural fabric being a metaphor to the various aspects or characteristics that together create a particular culture. I looked at fabrics and textiles from the community members' countries of origin and found inspiration in many of their woven blankets. To illustrate that, I wanted to make the tree look like it is made of or wrapped in a blanket, with the roots looking like the threads that combine to make the patterned trunk. The pattern I created on the trunk features the flags from the community members' countries of origin. I selected the flags based on research that I did on the community's demographics and information I received from Youth Lead the Change and Franklin Field community members. During engagement sessions with Youth Lead the Change and Franklin Field members, we spoke about what they think about their community and diversity and what words come to mind. And based on those conversations, I formed the community of trees in the background with those words. further tying together their hopes and feelings about their community into this mural. As YLC and the Franklin Field community requested, the mural overall is made up of bright colors and has a celebratory, hopeful, and unifying feel. I just wanted to take one last moment to thank Liza and Camille Rivero and the members of YLC and Franklin Field community for all of their work back and forth and feedback, for helping me come up with this design. I really hope that they like what I've put together at this point. And thank you to the committee for listening to my little presentation and reviewing my work. And I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the explanation of your artwork, Mel. I also want to call out that our community partners are here in the space and are available to answer any questions as well. We have Camille Rivero, who's the Youth Outreach and Engagement Coordinator from the Department of Youth Employment and Engagement. We have Deborah Adebanjo, who is the Youth Lead the Change Committee Co-Director. I believe I saw Jeremy from the Department of Youth Engagement and Employment, of Youth Employment and Engagement here as well, and Min Mai from Youth Lead the Change.
Okay, thank you very much for all of this good stuff. Thank you, Liza and Mel, and then all the partners, project partners who've been involved. Could we open it up to any questions or comments from commissioners first, and then we'll see if there's any from the community. Hearing no questions from commissioners, how about members of the community? Deborah, do you want to say something? Oh, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Camila Rivero from the Department of Youth Engagement and Employment. As Liza mentioned, our department helps support the Youth Lead the Change program, and we've just want to say how excited we've been to work with the Office of Arts and Culture and Mel in bringing this youth-led project to life, and we appreciate the ways in which Mel has created really colorful, hopeful artwork that incorporates what youth shared with us and Franklin Field residents shared with us in this artwork. So we're very, very excited to see this move forward and have worked with everyone on this particular initiative.
Great, thank you.
Camera's off. Yeah, I'm Deborah. I'm the co-director of YLC, and yeah, shout out to some YLC members like Ming and Lily for being here. I've been involved with this process since 2021, and from artist selection to the feedback and on what the mural's message would be and design would be. And during the meeting of selecting artists, we loved Mel's work of it being so colorful and vibrant, and this vibrancy of Mel's work is reflected in the design of the mural, which she incorporated with the community's feedback of wanting a message of hope and showing the community's diversity. And so I really just want to say that too.
Great. Okay, any other comments from the community before we move to a motion? Okay, hearing none, I wonder if someone will entertain a motion.
I can make a motion to accept the final design of Youth Lead the Change in Dorchester by artist Melissa Mandel.
And I second.
Great, thank you, Kim. I saw you just about to make the motion, so I'm glad you got a second. So I will do the roll call, and please say yes if you agree with the motion. Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. So the motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Mel. We look forward to seeing your vibrant artwork in our city. And it's great to have an emerging voice in entering into our collection of wonderful artworks across the city. So thank you so much for your energy and for your whole team and the collaborators for putting together such a wonderful proposal. Okay, I think our final moment of the evening is adjournment. So if we move to the last slide, are there any motions on the floor to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, John, thank you very much. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Great, thank you. And before we actually read off the roll call, I just want to say how wonderful it has been to see a number of emerging artists being presenting before us, and how great that is for the city of Boston to have new rising voices coming into the art scene and taking their position in the public sphere. So very excited to see that. And I hope that that will continue in the future. So with a motion to adjourn, Camilo?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Kim? I saw you mouth yes.
Yes.
Yes, great. And I'm a yes as well. So we are officially adjourned. Congratulations to all the artists tonight and to all the collaborators who made this all possible. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you.